while since I've done this. Oh, let's see here. Let's see here. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. If you love me, let me know, and if you don't, let me know. And they keep me loving you, loving you. Get out of my way. That ought to do it. That ought to do it. Hey, AKL Max, I have been better. I have been better. I have not been great. Boy, have I not been great. Oh. We'll get started in about 10 minutes here. You know, usual story. It's times like this that really make me wish I hadn't quit vaping. Un momento, por favor. Hi, Ace of Horns. How's it going? I'll be letting y'all know what's been going on with me shortly. Hello, Ben. How's it going? I mean, those of you who actually follow me on X, you already know the score. But oddly enough, a lot of you who watch me don't follow me on X. So you haven't been privy to everything that's been going on. No, sir, you have not. Saw you caught the... Yes, the Kung Flu. Yes. Yes. And you see, AKL Max follows me on X. So he's in the know. Y'all ain't in the know, because y'all don't follow me on X. That's where all the action happens, you see. I will tell that story in approximately 9 minutes. We're just waiting for everyone to get in. You know how it goes. But those of you who take the time to actually show up early like this, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. You see that area right there where there's like the lid to a bin and a couple old posters and a fold-out chair sitting there? That big empty space next to the shelves? I got my annual bonus. And in about 3 weeks, something new and big is going to be sitting right there. All $4,000 of it. Bonus gone. Bonus was actually 10 grand before taxes, and then after taxes was 7 grand, and then 2,200 of that went to pay my income tax debt because I borrowed from my 401k without deducting taxes on it, so I owed back tax on that. So, yeah, made my one big purchase bonus. Poof. I follow you on X, but I don't read your posts that much. I just wait until another stream. Well, that's because you just have to be special and different, Blaze. That's your deal. You just have to fly, fly by the seat of the pants of your own drum, No, there's no cash in that bin. That's just the lid to a bin. It's not even a bin. No. I finally, after almost a year here, and after having one that didn't really work right for 7 years, I finally had the money to do it. So I bought me a new multicade. It wasn't actually $4,000. It was $3,400 plus tax plus $350 to ship it here from Florida, because that's where the company that makes them resides. So I have to wait 3 weeks for them to build it and then ship it. But after everything, it was right at $4,000. A little bit less. Now, I didn't go, super duper top of the line, I didn't order this from Retrocade, who has those big giant 55-inch multicades, because their units start at $7,000 and go up from there. That was too rich for my blood. Plus, it would have been way too big, and no one should really need a 55-inch screen arcade cabinet. No, I went with the 43-inch arcade cabinet with light guns and trackball. Only thing I didn't like about it is they didn't offer spinners as an option, so that's going to make playing Tron, the arcade game, kind of difficult to say the least. And they didn't offer spinners. But everything else that I wanted, it's on there. And whereas with Retrocade, they put actual PCs in theirs, but only have 1080p screens. This one is running off of the newest Raspberry Pi, and it only has half the games because it won't do like PS4 and PS5 and modern consoles. But I don't need all that because I have PS5 Pro. But my unit runs on a Raspberry Pi, has 17,000 plus games. It's something like somewhere between 17 and 20,000. And it has a 43-inch 4K screen with a dynamic sound system with 6x9 speakers and a subwoofer and all that nice stuff. So it doubles as a jukebox. Doesn't matter. I'm still going to buy me a jukebox too. It's going to go back there in the little alcove next to the door. But yeah, that's going to be coming, and they allow you to choose what you want it to look like. I could have bought their basic model where you only got to put, you had to select from a limited number of marquees and art styles, and it would have been less. But I also wouldn't have gotten the trackball and the light guns and all that. So I went ahead and paid the extra, and it's going to have a Tron theme. So, it's going to be a mixture of the original movie and Tron Legacy, and I told them to do it all up with as much neon blue and neon purple as it could, because it was going to have black light shining on it, and I wanted it to really pop in the black light. And that I wanted it's a 4-player cabinet, so I wanted it with the controls to be blue buttons, purple buttons, blue buttons, purple buttons, with both of the light guns blue, so everything matches the whole Tron motif. And then, of course, it's going to say 7th Arcade across the top. But I got it from a company called the Arcade Guys. So that'll be coming in about 3 weeks. If you hear me snorting like that, that's because my allergy medication that I've been taking to keep this stuff from getting me too stopped up is starting to wear off. But I didn't want to take one before starting the show because I get a little bit fidgety when I'm on that stuff. So you're just going to have to deal with me snorting snot every 20 or 30 minutes. It just is the way it is, baby. But we'll get started. Is PS5 Pro worth it? Well, it was worth it to me. It was especially worth it to 8th because it improves the performance of some of his games on the PSVR 2. Will it have Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat? Yes, it will. It'll have every arcade game up until like the mid to late 90s. And that's when it starts to get where it ain't powerful enough to run anything. But I don't really like any arcade games newer than the mid 90s anyway. I prefer the arcade games from, the Pixel era. I don't really care that much for the 3D stuff. So that doesn't, and it comes with all these console games too. What do I need that? I have all of that. So I tried to say, hey, can I get any money off if all I want off of the games I want are just the arcade games? Nope. Everyone gets the same image. I was like, well, okay. But anyway, I bought it from the arcade guys. So if y'all are looking to any of y'all are looking to get a multicade, and you decide to go with the arcade guys because they are more affordable than some of the bigger ones out there, just tell them 7th sent you. I don't get anything for it, but This isn't one of those situations where they're paying me to have one in my house to review and play games with it or anything like that. I just finally had the money to buy it, and I bought it. Anyway, it's Saturday, 6 o'clock, March 8th, 2025, and this is the 7th Cast. As always, I'm your venerable host, your friendly neighborhood 7th. 8th is doing whatever 8th does. It's been a long time. I haven't seen you guys in forever. And so I'll let y'all catch up on what's been going on with me. First of all, as you guys already knew, at my job we were a man short because we had somebody go out on medical leave. And that person just recently came back. But up until then, I've been working a lot of extra voluntary, non-paid time to make up for the loss of that person not being around. And I'm not complaining about that. I'm a salaried individual. I knew that going in when I accepted the position. It comes with the territory. But it was greatly limiting my time. Meanwhile, a few weeks ago, I do still have some family left out there. Not a tremendous amount. Mostly cousins. And one of my cousins, who is in his 60s, and I hadn't seen him since the funeral for my uncle almost 20 years ago was the last time I'd seen him. Because once I got out on my own, as much as I loved my family, I never allowed ties to family to hold me down to a specific region. I couldn't wait to get out of Tennessee, and so I went. And then I got relocated from Florida to North Carolina, and 6 months in Georgia too, And then after that, I came here to Texas, even though I was within, driving from Charlotte to Atlanta, I was close to my family both in Chattanooga, well, fairly close to Chattanooga and in Georgia. But I came to Texas anyway because that's where my opportunity was. I've never, as much as I love my family, well, some members of my family, as much as I love some members of my family, I've never allowed that to impede me from advancing my career and in so doing give 8th a better life. Well, my cousin, who I hadn't seen in almost 20 years, he decides that he wants to take a road trip and drive out here and visit. I said, great. I said, I've got all this stuff, and he's like me. He's big into movies and whatnot. Not so much video games, but big 80s movie and TV fan. And so I was, telling him everything I've got, and I said, I've got recliners right here with a 70-inch screen. We can just chill out and watch movies for a week. And he's had a hard life the last couple of years. I'm not going to get into it, but he's had some really bad tragedies going on, and had just been talking about how unhappy he'd been, and I just, there's too much going on here, and I just need to get away for a while. And I was like, come to Texas, come to 7th, let's go. Well, a couple of days before he was supposed to come out here, he suddenly had to be rushed to the ER. He was very weak and dehydrated. They pumped him full of fluids. Didn't explain to him why he was dehydrated. Didn't test him for anything. Just said, you're dehydrated, and pumped him full of fluids, and then sent him on his way. American healthcare system, right? Well, apparently, the reason he got so dehydrated and collapsed like that was because he had COVID. And he drove, instead of splitting the trip up like I suggested he do, him being in his 60s, he drove the whole 13 hours in one stop, in one go. He showed up on my front porch, and he could barely stand. So I carried him in here. He's a tall, skinny guy. He maybe weighs 120 with wet clothes on. Very scrawny individual. Looks nothing like me. He's the son of my mother's sister. So carried him in here, sat him down, and he was coughing real bad. And he had a bad wheeze. He had a loud rattle when he breathed. And I asked him about it, and he said, oh, that's just from all the smoking, and I've been that way for years. Within 4 days, both me and 8th were sick. And he was feeling much better because we had been nursing him back to health. His rattle that he had all these years and years magically gone. But me and 8th had a rattle, and me and 8th had, coughing up nastiness and blowing it out our nose, and rattling our breath, not sleeping good, etc., etc., etc. To the point where I actually took a couple of sick days off, which I never take sick days off, but I did this time around. And I don't blame him. He's in his 60s, and he does have a lot of health problems. And so I fully believe that it was possible for him to catch the coof and not even know that he had the coof because of how sick he is in general with all the different things wrong with him. I love him to death. He was like a big brother to me. Him and my other cousin who accidentally broke his own neck when he passed out in the hallway that I told you about a few years ago. Both of them were like brothers to me. And I love this individual dearly. He's one of my favorite people on the face of this earth. And knowing that he was in his 60s and knowing that this might be the last time that I ever got to see him, of course I asked him to come here. And I don't regret that he came here. But man, oh man, am I paying the price for it now. 8th is already over it. 8th gets sick, and no matter what it is, 3 days later, he's fine. That's just 8th. He's superhuman. Must be his mother's German bloodline. I don't know. You sure don't get it from me. I was sickly every day of my life when I was a kid. Anyway. Long story short, I appear to have what the kiddies call long COVID or long coof. Because this has been going on a month now. And I'm still have sinuses draining. I'm still having coughing fits. I'm still waking up in the middle of the night with my bronchial tubes clogged up and having to cough up a wad of gunk to be able to go back to sleep. And this is the first time I've caught it. And honestly, when I had it heavy, I'm feeling better now, but when I had it heavy, just felt like a bad sinus infection or the flu. It didn't feel like anything life-threatening or anything like that. And I mean, Eighth this is like the fourth time he's had it. And I've never caught it from Eighth before. Eighth has caught it and sat right beside me. And I didn't catch it. But there's a difference. Those other 3 times that Eighth had it, I was still vaping. I quit vaping last summer. And since I quit vaping, I have caught a sinus infection and now this. I've been sick twice now since I quit vaping with respiratory stuff. I used to never catch it. This was the first time I've caught the coof. First time since 2020. And I've been around people that had it, and it do nothing to me. But now I get it after I put down the vape. Well, don't worry, I'm not picking the vape back up. I'm not, because I can't afford it. Not when I'm paying, $2,700 a month to live in this house. I can't afford $100+ a month to vape anymore. I wish I could, though. I miss it because I breathed a lot better. I didn't get sick as much. My sinuses didn't get screwed up like this. I was, as crazy as it sounds, I was healthier when I was vaping. I can't explain it. Anyway, that's where I've been. Okay? That's where I've been. And the only other big news I have is what I was talking about in the preview show, that I got my annual bonus and my annual pay merit increase. And since I paid my back taxes because I took out money from my 401k for the down payment on this house, and I didn't pay tax. I didn't have anything deducted for tax on it last year, and so I had to pay it in my income tax. So I paid my income tax off, and with what was left over, I finally bought me a new multicade arcade machine, and it's going to be sitting right there in about 3 weeks. And I'm excited for it. I'm excited for it because, as you know, I had a multicade that Captain Retro built for me in exchange for my Neo Geo way back, like 6-7 years ago. And God love him, he did his best, and it's not his fault, but the thing never did work right. He even paid to have a technician come out here and work on it to try to get it working right. And the guy only got most of it working, and he was supposed to come back and finish the job, and then COVID happened. And so he never did come back out and finish it. And since then, I've moved to a new house miles and miles away from that guy, and it's never worked. And now it's even got damage from the move, so it's in worse condition now than it was before. And I decided, you know what? I've had it. It's never done what I wanted it to do, which is not Captain Retro's fault. But I got to have something. I can't take this no more. And so, since I didn't have any other big outstanding bills to pay, I took what was left of my bonus after the taxes, and I went to the arcade guys and told them this is what I want, and they're building it right now. And it's going to be a 43-inch hi-fi audio 4-player multicade cabinet with 17,000 games on it and light guns, with a Tron theme that hopefully will be good and reactive in the black light, like my shelves back there. And it's going to sit right next to those shelves. Going to sit right next to them. So when it does show up in 3 weeks or whatever, and I do that first 7thCast after it shows up, you'll be able to see it right over my left shoulder here, or my right shoulder. You'll be able to see it back there. So, now that I've gotten all that out of the way, and you know that, I'm not doing my best, but I'm here. I'll start asking questions, and you know, don't forget to spread the love up there. Yeah. I haven't been around since January, so feel free to spread the love. You guys know I don't do it for the money, because if I did, I would have been on here no matter how sick I was. Anyway. You should make a review video of it. Yeah, I'm going to review the multicade when I get it. I'm going to review it. I don't think I'll live stream from it, because that's too much effort into getting a camera set up to stream over there, and plus with my knees the way they are, I wouldn't be able to stand there for 2 hours nonstop streaming arcade games. Let's see here. Hi, Alaskan dude. Hi, Clean Frame. From AKL Max. I caught the coof once and hated every moment of it. Felt like I couldn't get a full breath of air. Yeah. My breathing sometimes. I'm having to take, oddly enough, Allegra really helps with it. And so I'll take an Allegra, and I'll be feeling like kind of congested and tight in here, and feeling like every breath I've got a mask over my face. So I feel like I'm having to pull harder to get air in. I'll take an Allegra, and within a half hour, I'm breathing clear. But it's not good for you to take. You're only supposed to take one Allegra a day. I'm taking 2, one every 12 hours. Not really supposed to do that. It's bad for your kidneys and your liver. But until this thing goes away, I gotta be clear. I gotta be able to breathe. But let's see. I knew where this was going. Well, good for you. Good for you. When I had a bad case of acute sinusitis, I thought I had to go. Well, COVID feels very similar to that. Very similar. You're very tight in the chest. You're very congested in the chest. When you breathe, you have an audible rattle that everyone around you can hear. And you're constantly having to blow your nose because it's impacted sinus nastiness, and you're constantly coughing up nastiness, either brown or green, one or the other. Would you get a pinball machine? Dude, what do you think this is? At Games Legends, digital pinball, modded to run visual pinball, 400 tables. Modded with an improved 1440p screen. Already got one, friend. So the arcade cabinet, the multicade, will be sitting right across from my pinball machine here. What do you think of... Don't even bring that up in here. Don't even bring that up in here. That's derp weirdo crap. Only people with an IQ of a grape find that funny. It's just dumb. I would use the R word, but I wouldn't want to offend anybody in here. It's pure idiocy. To me, the skibbity toilet stuff is just as dumb as back in the early days of the internet when you had frog in a blender, or the Badger song. Badgers, mushroom. Remember that? Yeah, same stupid crap. What are your thoughts on the Switch 2? I think it sounds kind of weak. I just want to know 2 things. How much is it going to cost? And are they finally going to implement an integrated trophy system? That's what I know. That's what I want to know. Because not having an integrated trophy system is the main reason that I've barely played Switch all this time. 8th has played more on Switch than I have. And we don't have a tremendous amount of Switch games. Let me look and see how many Switch games we get. Oh, stop it, you stupid phone. Don't make me have to kick your ass. Do what you're supposed to do. Let me bring up my Let me bring up my game high here. Hold on just a second. Refine the Nintendo Switch. Apply. We have 57 games for the Switch. To compare, for the Sony PS5, we have 147. Almost 3 times the number of Switch games. Do you think that... well, again, you guys know I don't get into politics on this chat. Super Mario World or Donkey Kong Country? Super Mario World. One of the main symptoms of acute sinusitis is teeth pain. I had that. I've experienced that before. And it goes up into your eyes because of the nerves that are connected to your, that go up through there. Yeah. What have you been playing lately? Not a whole lot, man. I've mostly just been watching movies. I did put a few hours into Avowed to try it out. Not bad. And I put a few hours into Diablo 4. That's pretty much it, man. Avowed and Diablo 4. That's been about it. We've been getting games. It's just most of it is stuff that 8th wants to play. Yeah, we got Monster Hunter Wilds. 8th has already beat it. He's this far away from the plat already. Said it was the easiest Monster Hunter that he'd ever played. We got the Yakuza Pirate game. The Suikoden 1 and 2 is coming Monday. So, I mean, we've still been picking games up. But I just haven't been playing any of them for the most part because I've felt like such crap. But, you know, I felt decent enough to put a little bit of time into Diablo 4 and Avowed. And Avowed is okay. It's not this mind-blowingly fantastic thing like the Xbox guys are trying to make it out to be. But it's a decent Western RPG. It feels like the Fisher-Price Skyrim. You know, Skyrim for dummies. It's a very dumbed down, simplified Skyrim style RPG. This gaming crash, I think Nintendo will come out unscathed. That depends. It depends on a number of factors. I mean, they haven't really been affected by any of it thus far. But when so many, when the quality of games that can be played on tablets and phones and all that stuff, I don't know. With this coming generation, I don't know how much they'd care about having a Switch too. We'll see. We'll see. That a lot of that has to do with their parents. If their parents make them think that, hey, Nintendo and console gaming is cool, then the kids will think it's cool. If the kids get to be 3 or 4 years old and their parents slap a tablet or a phone in their hand, do you try to distribute attributes evenly when able to in some RPGs? Not really. I just do... I always do a barbarian or warrior run, and then if I like it enough, I'll try other classes and see what I think of those. But, I always go for the thing that I always try to boost first above anything when I start one of these is critical hit chance. Because critical hit can... it can make you really really powerful if you start putting into it early. I got burnt out on Outer Worlds. Don't think I'll be trying Avowed. I finished Outer Worlds. I didn't think it was that bad a game. It just, felt like New Vegas. And this game is just Skyrim light. That's pretty much what it is. I do not think the story is anywhere near as good as Skyrim's plot, but it's okay. And the acting is fine. The frame rate, though, I can't speak to PC. I'm playing it on the Xbox Series X. And I'm playing it in performance mode. I'm not playing quality mode. And that frame rate dips bad. Like well below 30. A lot. The Series X cannot really handle that game very well. Yeah, if there is another gaming crash, I think it's going to affect mostly the West. It's not going to affect Japan or other parts of Asia. No, it's mostly going to be here, just like last time. Because the American-run game part of the gaming industry are idiots, just like last time, but for different reasons. Any thoughts on John Cena turning heel? It's already been done once by Hogan back in '96. I don't feel that it has the impact of when Hogan turned heel. Within just a couple of weeks of Hogan turning heel, you had audiences full of people wearing NWO T-shirts. I could go to, I was already out of school, but cousins of mine would talk to me, who were still in high school at the time, would talk to me about the hallways being full of kids wearing NWO T-shirts. You don't see that kind of phenomenon happening with this Cena heel turn. Even though there's so much of it that sounds like it's right out of the NWO playbook. But it's not having the impact that the NWO had. Not even close. So, I'm not impressed. Have you kept up with the Crumbside drama? Oh, you mean with Black Bond getting fired? Yeah. I can't say that I'm surprised. I never had a tremendous amount of interaction with BG. But he always struck me as someone that was involved in all this more because he wanted to make a career out of it and make money off of it than because of an actual passion or love for the hobby. And so the fact that he could have someone who had so deeply contributed to his successful show for 10 years and think that, we don't need him, we can just send him on his way. Because we have we have plenty of talent left over to keep our our weapon wheel fans interested and involved. No. You have Jack Move. You have Johnny. That's all you got left. Everybody else on that show, including yourself, BG, is a snooze fest. Absolute snooze fest. When you don't understand how much of your audience was built around the drama of it and wanting to hear you guys yelling and screaming at each other. And so you got rid of Hard 8, and now you've gotten rid of Black Bond, and Jack Move is all you got left in that regard. And once he's gone, you're done. You're done. And you know you're done. You have no charisma. You have no personality. You're a non-entity on the mic. No offense to you, dude, but that's the truth. There's nothing to you. You are the straight man, okay? You are the Abbott to all the Costellos that you've surrounded yourself with. And without them, you have nothing to bounce off of. Their reactions are what drives your show, not you. That was really stupid, man. It was really, really stupid. Best of luck to you. Unfortunately, that's the downside to a person who is a charisma black hole. They don't realize that they're a no soul. They don't realize it. That's why that same kind of person can, for example, cheat on their spouse and then feel shocked that anyone would have a problem with it, because they don't. It doesn't register to them because there's no soul there. They're just a shell, and that's how he strikes me. There's just nothing behind the eyes. It's just, literally an NPC. Would you sell all of your game collection and consoles for $1 million? No, because it's not worth $1 million. It's only worth $76,000. I stopped watching WWP after they kicked Bond off. You're not the only person that's told me that, bro. Jack can't leave. He'd be broke when that happens. Right. I know. Jack is trapped. I have a feeling if Jack had another gig to go to, he would. But he's trapped because without the weapon wheel money, him and whoever he has living with him, I don't know if it's his mom or his sister or whatever it is, but him and whoever he has living with him would be out on the streets. So he's stuck doing the gig. I feel sorry for him, but it is what it is. How will tariffs affect Switch 2 price and game? Too early to tell. We'll see. Not sure if you watched Bond's Magnum Colopus, but he hinted at BG making him sign a tax document, but was actually a termination contract. Oh, if he can prove that in court, man. Oh, boy. Not good. Not good. I haven't watched it yet. I have a feeling, though, that Bond is probably already lawyered up over that. And if that ends up being true, oh, BG. No. All BG did was get people together. Yeah, more interesting, funny, entertaining people than him together. He was nothing before Weapon Wheel happened. He was no bigger than me before Weapon Wheel happened. Me at my prime, anyway, not me now. Me when I was at my peak. That's where he was. And he didn't take off until Weapon Wheel took off. Bond should have taken BG's place. Well, I mean, BG owns it, so that it would be kind of hard for Bond to do that. But if it wasn't for the fact that Jack can't afford to leave because he has to have that guaranteed cut and pay, that guaranteed pay, I think Bond could have just usurped everything on that show, started a new show like that. Would have been easy. I think the new Mario game will be open world. Would that work like a Breath of the Wild? Just take a look at that Sonic Frontiers game that came out a couple of years ago. It'd probably be something somewhat similar to that. What happened with you and Solid Rev? I saw he blocked you again. I don't know what's up with Rev. Rev used to have a pretty thick skin. You could bust balls with him and it didn't bother him. This is now the second time where I've busted his balls and he's blocked me for it. I don't know what's up with him, man. I don't know. Because all it was, he was showing where he had asked X's AI Grok, who is Solid Rev. And Grok read off a couple of paragraphs talking about, how fit he was and his fitness, and Solid Rev seemed very impressed by the fact that this AI thought he was a very fit individual who was respected, and people wanted to know about his gaming opinions and blah blah blah. And I jokingly said, this man is so starved for attention. He's trolling an AI for compliments. You hate to see it. That's all I said, and he blocked me. He blocked me for that. Now you guys know, for 15 years I've said way worse to people, including Rev, and not got blocked. I don't know what's up with him, man. This is the second time in a calendar year that Rev has blocked me because I trolled him. And wasn't even trolling him hard. It was just one little troll joke. Like really, really softball stuff. I don't know what's up with him, man. I really don't. It don't seem like him at all. Oh well. Thoughts on Naughty Dog milking The Last of Us with constant remasters? Well, there's only so much more they can do, especially with Druckmann now stating that they're not going to continue the series on, that there's not going to be a third one. I don't know how true that is, but JV showed, sup 7th, glad to see you alive. Did you play Monster Hunter Wilds yet? No, I don't really play Monster Hunter. We do have it. 8th already beat it. He's pretty close to the platinum. I just got here. Well, glad to hear it, Darkstar. Nobody's donated yet. 7th, what weather would you prefer? Summer weather or winter weather? Summer. I don't like winter at all. Because I'm more likely to get sick in the wintertime than any other time of the year. Two true exclusives a year minimum would be a good spot for PlayStation to be, right? I would say so, yes. Minimum. I got blocked on YouTube by a number of so-called free speech people. Well, it just depends on whether whatever it was you did was bad enough to deserve it. A lot of times it's not. Did you watch Larry Bird back then? Those old NBA games were fun. I was a Jordan guy. Once Jordan retired, I stopped watching NBA, and I haven't watched it since. Unless Naughty Dog's new IP is a success, there will be a Last of Us Part 3. Yeah, we'll see. Druckmann, being who he is, might have said that just to see how many fans they'd get saying, no, you have to make a third one. He could have just been mining for reaction, hoping to be able to take it to Sony and say, see, people did love the second one. Thoughts on WB Games Studios shutting down, mainly Monolith. Shadow of Mordor War. That's what's going on, man. It's a sign of the times. Sign of a crash coming. Uh-oh. $20 Canadian for JV Shota. Thank you. Appreciate you, JV Shota. $20. That puts us $30 away from me having to stay an extra hour. Thank you. Appreciate you, JV. Here, have a dollar. Have a dollar bill, y'all. Naughty Dog has to be most petty, lazy gaming company. I think they allowed Druckmann to take over. He kicked Hennig out, forced Hennig out, and now they're all high on the smell of his farts. I mean, that's all there is to it. I'm playing through Shadow of Mordor now. That Nemesis system is truly special. Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame. That system could be used for a lot of other stuff. But no, they kill the studio and put it behind a copyright lock or patent lock. The Last of Us ruined gaming. It certainly ruined Naughty Dog. Have you heard of Metal Eden? No. That does not ring a bell, sir. Doesn't ring a bell. Sorry. Collection update. I am now at, or me and Eighth are at, 2,480 games for a total value of $76,948. That's where the collection's at right now. 2,480 physical games. What new IPs look interesting to you? Nothing so far. From the Alaskan dude, PlayStation has a bad reputation right now. No good PR. Their servers went down, didn't say why. They're showing nothing to Sony making more live service games. Yeah. You'd think with all those live service games that they had canceled that they wouldn't be still trying to dip their toe in that particular pool. But looks like they're not quite ready to give up on it yet, I guess because of the success of Helldivers. Did you see that POS that calls himself Johnny Somali getting found guilty in Korea? I haven't paid too much attention to it. I mean, I think I saw something about it on the news, but I don't really follow him or who he is or what he does. I just figured it was the same kind of stupid crap that Logan Paul did over in Japan. Birthday was last month. I got the Devil May Cry collection on 360 at half-price books. Also at GameStop, someone was trying to sell his 360, gave me a copy of Modern Warfare. Well, that was cool. I haven't been in a half-price book since before we moved here. I don't think there is one around here, so. But the last several times I'd been in a half-price books, their gaming selection had kind of gone to crap, so. There's a Game Exchange here where I live, and usually Game Exchange has a nice selection. Not here. Here, it's like NES, SNES, Genesis. It was all sports games. That's all they had left. That's all they had left. Magic powers. Have you seen Review Tech USA's endeavor into the lolcow sphere? No, I haven't watched any of that. I was morbidly interested in lolcow when it was just Boogie and Wings. When they started expanding it into other shows is when I was like, I don't have the time to keep track of all this, and I stopped watching all of it. No offense to Boogie. It's just, the plot lines bleed from one end to the other and back and forth, and I'm not going to devote that much time into trying to keep up with it all. I'm just not. I mean, I barely have the attention span to watch, other fat, ugly men talking online. But then adding, watching fat, ugly women talk online and, Rich and JKB on top of that, it's too much. Too much lolcow. Can't take it. Do you have Ogre Battle 64? No, I don't. I have Tactics Ogre, but I don't have Ogre Battle 64. What's your favorite SNES games? Contra 3, Link to the Past, Final Fight 2, Final Fantasy 3, Super Castlevania 4, Run Saber, ActRaiser 1, and a few others. I like a lot of the beat 'em ups. I like Alien vs. Predator. I like Rival Turf. I feel like Jak and Daxter, the precursor Legacy, was the best game of the series, and the sequel should have followed. Thoughts? I like the first one best too because it felt like a more pure platformer. And then in the sequels, they started borrowing. It felt like they were borrowing from Ratchet and Clank, and I felt like those should stay separate. I didn't like adding guns to the Jak series. Getting tired of the snow. I want lake and pond to thaw so I can fish. I used to fish with my dad, but it wasn't because I liked fishing. It was just something to do with my dad, but I know some people really like it. From Bill Bones. Hey, 7th. Hi, Bill. Oh, my back's hurting, guys. Sorry. Keep the questions coming, though. Another thing with this coof stuff, it messes your stomach up. It messes your stomach up. My, shall we say, number 2 schedule has been all over the place since I came down with this crap. I never know when it might strike. I think we'll be good. We'll be good with the show, but my stomach is bothering me a little bit. Can we all agree to call next gen the current gen when the new generation consoles come out? How are we calling a gen next gen when we're 4 years into it? I've never understood that either, but that's the way it is. What's your favorite alcoholic beverage? I can't drink alcohol. Not anymore. I mean, didn't you notice that used to every 7th cast I'd drink a blackjack cola and I stopped doing it? It's because I'm not allowed to drink anymore. 7th, would you like to see the Call of Duty studio shut down? Would be nice. I'm just kidding. I don't want anybody to lose their jobs, but I wish they were making something better than what they've been making all this time. You should have Alex on your back to massage. Yeah, Alex has, even though we keep them trimmed, she has pretty sharp claws. I don't think I'd like that on my back. I tried playing Jack 2. They made him way too edgy to the point of... Exactly. See some of the things that I've purchased, because that wasn't the only thing I purchased with my bonus. I bought some other stuff. Some of it hasn't arrived yet. Let's see. I've started rebuilding my physical media films and shows, because I got tired of me paying for all these streaming services, and the stuff that I want to watch on them keeps disappearing. Except even some of the stuff that I've bought disappear. And so I got tired of that, and so I've started rebuying it. I don't have that much on 4K as of yet, because a lot of the stuff that I watch is so old that they're not going to bother putting it on 4K. Like there's currently not a 4K for Big Trouble in Little China, so I rebought it on Blu-ray. There's also not a 4K of Remo Williams, The Adventure Begins, so I bought that on 4K. I bought The Lion King on 4K. I bought the original Poltergeist on 4K. I bought the Pirates of the Caribbean quintilogy, or however you want to say that, on 4K. I pre-ordered Doom, The Dark Ages. I pre-ordered Soul Reaver 1 and 2 Remaster. I pre-ordered Expedition 33, the first Berserker. And let's see, I bought The Last Starfighter on Blu-ray, UHF 25th Anniversary on Blu-ray, Flash Gordon on Blu-ray, Krull on Blu-ray, Excalibur on Blu-ray, Neverending Story on Blu-ray, Megaforce on Blu-ray, picked up Legend of Heroes Trails of Daybreak 2, Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon 4K, Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza, Monster Hunter Wilds, the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection, because 8th wanted it. And I bought 8th a new record player, because the record player that he had was the record player that went to my 30-year-old stereo, and it was gear driven. It didn't have belts to wear out or anything, but still it was getting on up there, and so I replaced his record player for him. Let's see here. Ever since Unreal Engine 5 came out, studios are more focused on visual detail than gameplay. Metal Eater is a cyberpunk-like game that looks like combining Doom and Blade Runner. I hadn't heard anything about it so far. I watched Alien Romulus yesterday, pretty good, but I feel like they contradicted themselves with the acid when the gravity was restored and Andy jumping down an elevator shaft like he doesn't... Yeah. Yeah, that's why I've only watched that movie once, and that was in the theater. Magic powers might backfire if you're not careful, if you know what I mean. I know what you mean. I'm tired of over-the-shoulder cinematic games like God of War, Spider-Man. It's starting to feel the same. Yeah. Is it your liver? Sucks you can't... No, it's not my liver. It's because of the type 2. With the medication that I'm on for type 2, you're not really supposed to drink alcohol on top of it. I'm hoping for a God of War trilogy remake. Yeah, we'll see. I'm trying to finish Yu Yu Hakusho on Netflix because it leaves at the end of the month. I don't think I've ever watched it. Happy Gilmore 2 is coming July. After sitting through Coming to America 2, I don't have any hopes for Happy Gilmore 2. We'll see. Yes, I know about The Lion King being a ripoff of Kimba the White Lion. I know. Remember, I'm 50 years old. I've been watching anime a long time, Darkstar. Do you think Freya and Kratos should become a No. Kratos shouldn't be a couple with anybody. It's just not in the cards for him. People make fun of me for buying Blu-rays. Why I can have it physically. I don't know why. Because, when their favorite thing gets taken off of the streaming service they're paying for, when they could have had it on the shelf. There you go. Do you think they messed up Shrek's face? If anything, I think they just... there's more detail to his face than there used to be. So, his ugliness is a lot more visible than it was in the previous films. Blu-rays are still good quality, but 4K DVDs include a Blu-ray copy, so you might as well get... Not every movie is on 4K, Ace of Horns. That's the point. Not every movie is on 4K. Like, you can't get Making Contact on 4K. You can't get Megaforce on 4K. You can't get Great Balls of Fire on 4K, but you can get them on Blu-ray. And honestly, with upscaling being the way it is, with a lot of these movies, especially the older ones like The Goonies or Jaws or Star Wars, you can't really tell that much difference between a regular Blu-ray and a 4K because a movie that was filmed in the 70s is still going to look like a movie that was filmed in the 70s no matter how much you sharpen up the resolution. When you sit and watch Star Wars A New Hope, you can still very clearly tell that that was a movie made in the 70s. It has that 70s look because of the cameras used, the lenses used, the film stock used especially. And there's only so much that you can do to try to pretty that up. And if you try too much, you end up pissing people off like Jim Cameron did with True Lies and Aliens. Because the AI cleans it up so much that it makes a movie that was filmed on film look like a direct-to-video shot on a digital camcorder look. It cleans it up too much. Yu Yu Hakusho is a classic, same creators, Hunter X Hunter. Yeah. He's the husband of the creator of Sailor Moon. I never really got that much into Hunter X Hunter either. I tried to. I watched maybe 10 or 11 episodes, and it wasn't gripping me. I got some of my favorite anime DVDs and Blu-ray at half-price books. I would if there was a half price around here, but there's not. Not that it matters. I mean, a lot of the stuff that I just rattled off, I bought on Amazon for like $8 a piece. They're not expensive, except for the occasional rare one. But like, for example, Lion King 4K, it was $13. It's $13, brand new, sealed. Amazon is full of dirt cheap movies if you're in the market for it. And mostly what I use it for is I'll buy Blu-rays if it's something that I can't find on any of my streaming services that I want to watch. So, for example, I got a hankering to watch Smokey and the Bandit 3 several months ago. That's the crappy one that doesn't have Burt Reynolds in it, but I have a soft spot in my heart for it. And everyone had Smokey and the Bandit 1 and 2. Nobody had 3. So I bought the Blu-ray so I could watch it. Some movies you can't even get on Blu-ray. Like, you know how Turk 182 is one of my all-time favorite movies. It's not on Blu-ray at all. And the only way you can get it on DVD is to import it from overseas. So I have it on DVD, but I don't have it on Blu-ray because they don't make it on Blu-ray, which sucks. Will you consider checking out Lost Soul Aside when it comes out? Yeah, 8th is interested in it. Have you been watching WWE since it's on Netflix now? I watched it the night it debuted. And I tried to watch it the following week and was so bored by it because I didn't know who the majority of the people on it are that I just stopped watching it. No, I haven't played Helldivers 2 because I'm not into multiplayer, even co-op multiplayer. The stupid donation system keeps shutting off every time after I click on the link. Which are you trying to do? The super chat? Why don't you just go to this address up here and donate there? Anything that you donate to that address up there, I get it the same night anyway. I appreciate the $20 that JV Shota sent, but I won't get that until 30 days after I hit $100 in my AdSense account. So that 20 is just going to sit there until I hit $100 worth of super chats, and then 30 days later, I'll get that $100 minus YouTube's 30% cut. Whereas anything that's donated to this, I get it the same night and I get it instantly. So it's always better to use that link than it is to the gray button with the $sign on it. Did you like Stand By Me? Yes, good movie. Majority of my physical discs cost less than $15. Exactly. You just wait for Amazon to have a sale and you can buy everything for like under $10. It's fantastic. That's how I bought all of those movies that I just rattled off. They were all on sale on Amazon. I didn't pay like $20, $30 a piece for those. Let's talk about how Final Fantasy Rebirth sales reinvigorated itself and shot up the charts because of PC. Well, that's why Square isn't going to be exclusive no more. Have you seen the Paid in Full? What are you talking about, Nick? Those bookshelves look nice. They're pretty well stocked. Well, those aren't books. Those are top shelf is PS5, second shelf is PS4, and everything else is Blu-ray and DVD. And that's not all of our PS5 and PS4. That's about half. Well, not even half of PS4. The majority of PS4 is upstairs in 8th's game room. We have close to 300 PS4 games, and most of them are in 8th's game room upstairs. Eventually, we will do another game room tour. I've just been waiting for some other things to happen, like, the new gaming cabinet coming. I am clicking on the Streamlabs link. It shuts off. Try copying the link. Copy the link, paste it into a notepad, then copy it from the notepad, open up a new browser window, and paste it into the address bar. Try that. Can you tell that I've done troubleshooting for years? I've been thinking of building my first PC. Any advice? Make sure that you've done your research on parts and compatibility with parts and whatnot. I wouldn't want to see you waste your money on a bunch of stuff that isn't going to work well together. And that's one of the first mistakes when it comes to people building their first PC, is they just go for I'm going to buy the most powerful of everything, only to find out that a bunch of it doesn't work well together. Would you recommend watching the Dollars trilogy? Are you talking about A Fistful of Dollars, A Few Dollars More? Is that what you're talking about? Yes, they're good movies. Wrestling has been dead to me for many years. I don't blame you. Yeah. It's not like it was. Paid in Full movie. I don't know what that is. Got a lot of DVDs for a quarter a piece at a yard sale a year ago. Got some good movies like Apocalypse Now. I only buy DVD if you can't get it on Blu-ray. That's why I have a DVD of Turk 182, and some of my old cartoon shows are on DVD instead of Blu-ray. And honestly, it doesn't really matter because these shows weren't originally produced to be 4K shows anyway, or even 1080p shows. So you're not really getting that much of an improved picture by upgrading from DVD to Blu-ray if it happens to come out on Blu-ray. Dragon the Bruce Lee story released on 4K for some reason. Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, I like that movie, but no one's talked about it in 20 years, so I don't know why that, of all things, hit 4K. What video game meme had a bigger impact, Maidenless or Arrow to the Knee? I would say Arrow to the Knee. Have you made more progress on Dragon Age Veilguard? I platted it a long time ago. I platted it like a week after I started playing it. Yeah, I was talking about those Clint Eastwood movies, which is my favorite of Clint Eastwood's spaghetti westerns is Hang 'em High. That's my personal favorite out of all of them. No, I have not seen Captain America Brave New World. I have no interest in it. Oh, by the way, 2 hours remaining. We've had $20 Canadian in donations. Have you played NBA Jam? I played NBA Jam back in the day, long time ago. I think I had it on Genesis at one point. Have you thought of adding a small popcorn machine near the shelves? I've thought of. I thought it would be funny to buy like a velvet rope thing to go behind the recliners there, and then have maybe not a popcorn machine, but like a rack of the kind of snacks you could get in a movie theater, and just keep that stocked. Not that much of it would get ate because, to be honest with you, we don't. Most of the guests that we have come over are friends of Eighth's, not mine. I mean, my closest friend is Brian, and due to the job that Brian has, he's not available very much, so he doesn't come over very often. And my other friends all live 2 hours away. So, for example, Billy and Jay. Jay has only been to my house once in 8 years, and Billy has only been to my house twice. Because they live, they lived 3 hours away from my previous house. They live 2 hours away from this one. I keep telling Billy, one of these days, I'm just going to hop in my car and I'm going to drive up and show up on your front porch unannounced. I don't think he takes me seriously, though. Did you like The Crow, the one with Brandon Lee? Yeah, fantastic movie. I think 8th has it on 4K. I'm not 100% sure on that. Will you be watching The Last of Us Season 2 next month? No, I didn't watch Season 1. I watched one episode of it, and I was like, nope. Have you played NBA Street for the PS2? No, I'm not really a big sports player. The last generation that I was big into sports games was the Dreamcast. And then it just started getting less and less arcadey and more simulation. And, with the career mode that takes forever and trading players and all this, and I didn't care about any of that. My favorite sports game of all time, is Lakers versus Celtics in the NBA playoffs for the Sega Genesis. That's my favorite sports game. Followed closely by Super Dodgeball on the NES. Followed closely in third place by Baseball Stars on the NES. I like my sports games old school. What score would you hit Dragon Age with? It's about a 5 out of 7. Watch the show when it runs out of material from the game. It's 1-1 with the game so far. Well, they only got one game left. I'm the same way, JV. I like more arcadey sports stuff like Cyberball, NFL Blitz, that kind of stuff. I haven't been into Madden since the Genesis. Now, the last Madden game I played was on Genesis. And I want to say it was Madden 92. It was the one where if you had a player get injured really bad, an ambulance would drive out on the field and run over all the players trying to get to him. That's the last one I played. Magic Powers. Veilguard flopped so bad it's already on PS Plus. Yeah, I'm kind of regretting buying that on launch day. That's $70 I won't get back. Could have had it for free. Because let's face it, folks, it's never going to be a rare. That's not going to be a game where people, 20 years from now, if I'm still alive in 20 years, are going to be saying, you have Veilguard? Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Now, as for retro purchases, I haven't really been buying retro lately because, just trying to maintain more than anything else until things evened out. When you buy a new house, there's all these hidden costs that hit you over the first year. Like when my water heater exploded and I had to take out a loan to buy a new water heater. I already paid that off. That's $2,800. Water heaters only cost about $600, but they charge you out the ass for the labor. So anyway, I paid all that off, but I've expanding the retro collection has kind of taken a back seat. I haven't been doing too much with it. I even canceled my Retro Game Treasure subscription, which is where a lot of my retro was coming from, was expansions from that. The two most recent expansions, I scored a copy of Batman Returns for Super Nintendo, the beat 'em up, for $19. And today, I had to do some business at the bank, and 8th was like, well, while we're out, why don't we stop by the game store that's inside the mall? It's actually one of the only stores that's still open in the mall, but we went there, and I found a copy of Shinobi on PS2 for $20, so I snatched that up. I had Nightshade, but I didn't have Shinobi. Well, now I have both. So those are the only two retro purchases I've made in quite a while. Believe it or not, I still don't have Super Metroid on Super Nintendo. I would greatly love to have one of those, but I've just got too much. I could have bought up a whole bunch of new stuff for my retro collection instead of buying that multicade. But damn it, I wanted a multicade. So maybe next year, with my bonus, I'll blow my bonus on a bunch of expensive, rare games I'm missing from NES, like Mighty Final Fight and Panic Restaurant and stuff like that. Maybe that's what I'll do with my bonus. Because once I replace my TV and once I replace 8th's TV, there's not really anything else as far as big purchases go that we need in here. I mean, once you see the house tour, when you see the new house tour, you'll know what I'm talking about. We're pretty well set up here. You know, I have this. This is my area. This is my game room. The bedroom is just used as a guest room with some storage. That's where my cousin slept. I don't sleep in there because of my back. I sleep in here on my recliner so that I have proper back support. You go up those stairs behind me. When you go up those stairs, you'll go around a corner and there's a hallway. And there's 3 doors down that hallway. The first door on your right is 8th's computer room, where he does all of his computer stuff. The second room on the second door on the right is his bedroom. He doesn't have a regular bed. He has a couch bed that he got from IKEA. So he has a couch bed in there. He has a little entertainment stand with a 30 or 40 inch TV in there, and he has his bookshelves with all of his books. He don't have anything gaming in his bedroom. It's just his couch bed, his TV, and books. And, of course, all of his clothes in his closet. Then you go to the third door, and the third door is the spare room, which 8th is looking to turn into possibly a tabletop gaming area. We need more shelving for that. We need to buy at least 6 more sets of shelves because we're already running out of room down here and in his loft. Now, when you get to that third door on your right, directly in front of you is the bathroom upstairs, and then if you turn left, that takes you into the loft, which is 8th's game room, and it has a balcony that looks right up there over this room. So he can lean over the balcony up there and see me sitting here. And he has his own setup up there. He has his own set of recliners. He has his own sets of shelves. He has his own TV with his own PS5 Pro and his own Series X and all that. He doesn't have his own pinball machine, but he does have the At Games Legends arcade cabinet up there. So, he has a very similar setup to this one up there. But his TV is starting to go bad on him. He's had that TV for over 8 years, and I need to be able to replace that for him sometime soon, which is probably going to cost me around $1,200 to get him the one that he wants. So we'll see. We'll see. Let's see here. Let me scroll up. Hey, 7th, haven't seen you streaming since you turned 50 years old. I've streamed one time since my birthday. I streamed in January. Once. You should get Concord physically. I heard it's great. Oh. Yeah. Flash carts will save you from FOMO. Yeah. Buying Dragon Age Veilguard on launch wasn't so bad. You own a piece of gaming history. Just so when I got Cyberpunk 2077 on launch. That's true. So do you like any Nintendo sports games like Mario Baseball or Mario Golf? Magic Powers. Not really. Not really. I mean, we have some of them. But again, I haven't really been interested in Nintendo in years because of the fact that they haven't, they don't have a trophy system. I've got so used to being able to unlock trophies that I want that. I expect that. I would get into Steam before I'd get into Nintendo because at least Steam has achievements. Did you see anything you liked from the last State of Play? The one that announced the new Housemarque game. The new Housemarque game. Honestly, I preferred Housemarque when they were making small retro arcade games. I did not care at all about Returnal. Didn't care about it at all. I like stuff like Nex Machina and stuff like that they used to do. You can get Ogre Battle 64 with that bonus. No, because I need to replace my TV and I need to replace 8th's TV, and replacing both of them is going to cost me at least $3,000 to $4,000. At least $3,000 to $4,000. 7th, whatever happened to the Polymega? Polymega's sitting right here. Sitting right here. I just haven't been feeling well, so I haven't even attempted doing a stream with it. I mean, it's got most of my retro library installed on it. So, I could certainly stream with it, but the question is how many people would actually watch. Because I have to tell you, I tried doing retro streaming a couple of years ago, and only about 11 of you showed up. So, Easter is on 4/20 this year, lol. Nice. You could build a nice collection of Sony's unplayable dead games. I still own MAG. I don't own MAG, I don't think. I don't think I still own that one. There is an online one that I have. Oh, God. Shit, I can't remember the name of it. It's the flying game with the futuristic planes. And then they made a space version of it. It was called Star something. Shit. I'm getting old. I'm starting to not be able to remember this stuff just instantly off the top of my head like I used to. Hey, give me a second here. Refine. Console. Sony PS3. Apply. Scroll some more. Yes, Starhawk. I still have a copy of Starhawk. I don't think I have a copy of Warhawk anymore. I'll double check. Nope, I don't have Warhawk anymore. Because that one was online only too. But I do have Starhawk. And the reason I still have Starhawk is because it at least had a single-player campaign on it. No, I've never played Star Citizen. Eighth is lucky. My parents haven't bought me electronics since I was 15. Well, he's had a little bit of trouble getting work since we moved here. This is a smaller town. And companies tend to put on a freeze until after the fiscal year ends. So, he'll probably have more luck going into April. But, if I have the money and he needs something, I don't have a problem buying it for him. Eventually, when he has a job, he's going to start paying some of the bills around here, and so it'll all even out. He recently got his driver's license, and so he's just been enjoying driving around. Do you have a subwoofer? Yes, my soundbar has a subwoofer. 8th stereo upstairs has a subwoofer. He's running off of I think a Denon receiver up there with I don't remember the brand on the subwoofer. It's a great big one. And then he has my tower speakers from my Technics stereo circa 1994. They don't make tower speakers like these anymore. They're fantastic. They sound really crisp. You couldn't tell that they're 30 years old. They sound great. The rest of the stereo, the 5-disc changer still works. Tape deck still works. The receiver has some of its dials has a short in it. Need to fix it. And even then, it doesn't have HDMI support or anything because it was made in '94. It's Dolby Pro Logic 5-channel. I mean, Oh, having a little pain in the tum-tum there. Oh, there we go. Ow, 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 ow. Ow, 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 ow. That hurts muchly. Break out some wah-wah. Maybe I just need to up the hydration. Do you remember your experience when Capcom became Crapcom and then ascended to Cap God in the span of a generation? Well, it took more than one generation, but yes, I remember. Because in the PS3 generation, it went to shit. And then in the first half of the PS4 generation, it was still shit. And then it became not shit in the second half of the PS4 generation. But pretty much throughout the PS3 generation, it was god-awful. It's like Devil May Cry was the only good thing they had going. Leave me alone. Leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you. Yeah, this is what somebody favorited what I said to Solid Rev last week. Man so dejected in life, he's mining a talking calculator for compliments. You hate to see it. That's what I said. And he got so upset over it that he blocked me. Why? Street Fighter 4 did a lot. Yeah, but they killed that with Street Fighter 5. They killed it with Street Fighter 5, and it took them a lot to recover from what happened with Street Fighter 5. Street Fighter 4 was good, but it wasn't enough to counteract what they did to Bionic Commando and several other games that they released that were not even made by them. They just published them during that generation. Do you remember Return to Raccoon City or whatever the hell it was called? That third-person action shooter that was garbage? They had a whole bunch of that during the PS3 generation. Not to mention the DMC reboot done by Ninja Theory. That was horse shit. That was not good. I'm glad that they came to their senses and went back to in-house with DMC5. Yes, Rev blocked me again. Second time in a calendar year. And again, over a softball joke. I don't know what his deal is. I really don't. Last time I had to have somebody message him and say, unblock 7th. You'd think he'd learn by now that, everything that comes out of my mouth is a gag. Stop getting so easily offended. Did you ever watch the Masters golf? I used to with my dad. No. Golf was boring as hell to me. There was a period when I was maybe 7 years old that on Saturday mornings after Saturday morning cartoons went off the air, I'd sit and watch ABC's Wide World of Sports if they had bowling on. For some reason, I had this weird fascination with watching other people play bowling. So I'd sit and watch that. I'd be like, oh, I like his bowling ball. I wish I had a bowling ball like that. And you know what? I was probably 14 or 15 years old before I ever stepped foot in a bowling alley. For whatever reason, I just never got into it until finally there was some kind of a church event and I got invited to it. And that was the first time I'd ever bowled. Dead Rising, I remember from PS3 and Dragon's Dogma. Yeah. You going at Rev reminds me of when Hard 8 was always going at Jack move that started it. Yeah, but I don't hit Rev that hard. You know, what I hit Rev with is basically dad jokes. You know, real softball, lightweight stuff. How do you think Joel's going to die in season 2? Don't care. Didn't watch the first season. Not going to watch the second one. Watched one episode of it. Didn't like it. Part of that being is that the actress they hired to play Ellie looks nothing like Ellie, and it's very distracting. It's very distracting. The other thing being is I'm not a big fan of the game in general. I'm certainly not going to be a big fan of the show. You know, if you look over here, you can see where I've got like black light set up everywhere. There's black light all over this room. You don't see the coloration of it as much through this because you have the light from my monitor feeding into it. But if I turn these monitors off, this whole room is like a deep shade of purple because of the black light. All the lights in this house, except for in the kitchen, the garage, the laundry room, and the bathrooms, are black light. It's all black light except for those rooms. Hi, enemy. Been a while. Why don't you commemorate my return? You know what I'm saying. People are too soft these days. You ain't wrong. What's the 7th level currently playing? The last game I played was Avowed. I think I put maybe 10 hours into it. High five for life. Oh boy, I done thought you died, mate. Nope. And if you followed me on X, you'd know that. Joel's going to die from diarrhea in season 2. Why blacklight? Because some of my favorite arcades when I was a kid was heavy on the blacklight. I remember going to one that was made to look like you were in a gold mine, and there was black light everywhere, lighting everything up. You know, it just gives it that kind of 80s Tron look that I think is fun. So that's why black light. That's why my shelves back there are glowing the way they are. They're lined with reflective tape that lights up in the black light. That's why you can see that tiny little back there, like on the wall there, you can see a tiny little Tron poster lit up very brightly. That's because of the black light. It's just a look that I like, and when me and 8th started talking about when we were going to buy a house, we were just brainstorming, and I was like, what if we got like black light carpets and lined all of our shelves and everything with black light and just put black light bulbs and everything? And he's like, yeah, that'd be it. That'd be badass. So if you go upstairs and go up, when you go up those stairs and go down the hall, in the main hallway that leads to all of his stuff upstairs, there's black light rugs on the floor, and there's black light reflective posters on the walls. Yeah, it almost looks like the hallway when you first walk into a punk rock club up there. It's pretty funny. And his whole gaming room up there, Whereas all of my furniture is black, all of his furniture is white, except for his recliners. His recliners are kind of a deep maroonish red, and all of the furniture has tape, just like on there, reflective tape, to give it that glowing look, because it's all black light up there too. No, LeBron did not bring me back to the NBA. What's my desert island game? I don't think I have one, mate. Don't think I have one. Them crystal sackfuls. I wish I could have a sack full of crystals. I'd love to have a sack full of crystals. It'd make me sick, but I'd love it. First time in a long time. Hey, Soul Drift. How's it going? Ever played System Shock? Yes. I played System Shock 1 and 2 on PC, and I own the remake of System Shock on PS5. I started it, but I haven't finished it. I'm maybe halfway through it. I actually forgot that I have that. You just now reminded me that I have it on my shelf right behind me. Have you played that indie game yet? No, I've not played the indie game. Did you disavow Avowed? It's so-so. I talked about it a little bit earlier. It's Skyrim for dummies. As a bonus, the black light would let you know if 8th had any ladies in the house. Not necessarily. Maybe some magazines that had ladies in them. You know, it could also prove that, JV. It doesn't necessarily prove that he's sneaking women in here. Not that he'd have to sneak anybody in here. This is his house as much as mine. He's 22 years old. I mean, come on. Ever heard of the punk rock YouTuber Finn McKendy? Oh, yeah, the big fake. The big fake that quit? Yeah, I know who he is. Favorite Gears of War game? Don't have one. Don't like them. Favorite card style game? Poker, rummy, blackjack. Out of traditional cards, just straight poker. Would you ever play Roblox? Absolutely not. What about Rise of the Triad Ludicrous Edition? I don't have that, no. Sup, 7th, nice arcade. You don't know the half of it. Wait till the cabinet gets here in 3 weeks. Wait till the cabinet gets here in 3 weeks. Then you're going to see something. What are your thoughts about the Lord of the Rings trilogy? I love the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Not so much the Hobbit trilogy. 8th likes the Hobbit trilogy. I think they're not all that good because so much of it was not in the book at all. I went to a gaming convention last month, partially inspired by you, and damn, it was a blast. I told you. I told you. And you know what? Some of them gaming nerds can get freaky. I've seen some stuff at Retropalooza that I'm sworn to not talk about. I'm just saying. I miss going to the cons because the cons were, where I'd get to see friends of mine. I'm friends with Tyler from My Retro Life, 8-Bit Eric, Billy, Jay, all of their inner circle. And so I miss going to the cons, but probably not going to have the money to go this year either. Of course, I just spent almost $4,000 on a multicade, but probably not going to have the money to go to the cons this year. As a PS3 360 console veteran, what are your thoughts on Microsoft porting all their games to PS5? I actually predicted that a while back. I predicted that Microsoft would end up going the way of Dreamcast. Y'all don't remember that? At 7th, nice custom-built cabinet. I don't have a custom-built cabinet yet. It hasn't gotten here. I'm still waiting on it to show up. What you talking about, Willis? Hard to believe Resident Evil 4 had its 20-year anniversary. Hard to believe that I'm 50. Do you think Happy Gilmore Part 2 will be any good? I'm not holding out hope. I was listening to this interview with Seinfeld talking when did money become everything in the 70s was how cool was your job, now it's all money. Yeah, well, to me, money is just a means to an end. Did you ever play that Lord of the Rings RPG for PS2? I think it was called The Third Age. I don't have it for PS2. I have it for original Xbox. It's a Final Fantasy ripoff. Plays just like Final Fantasy. The big thing with it is there's an exploit in it where you have these two spells you can learn. One will revive any character to life the minute they die, and the other one can heal wounds to 100%. So what you do is you have one character who all they do in the battle is cast those two spells. And so basically your whole team becomes immortal. And you can just walk right through that game. PlayStation's going to need competitions. Well, there's Nintendo. But right now I think their main competitor is PC, which they're contributing to, so they've already lost that fight. I don't watch locale anymore. I watched it for a while, and then they started expanding it with all these spin-off shows, and it's just too much to keep up with. I ain't got that kind of time. Star Wars Jedi Survivor was a free game last month. It's good to great with infrequent crashes, and it really needs a mini radar system. I give it an 8 out of 10. I own it, haven't played it. It was more of an 8th thing. 8th has it upstairs in his game room. Like I said, about half of our PS5 games are in here with me, and the other half are upstairs in 8th's room. I mean, you can't tell it from what you're seeing here, but above me, the ceiling is about 20 feet up there. I've got this great big cathedral slanted ceiling that comes down to back there. And so right up there is the balcony from 8th's gaming room that looks out over this one. The downside to that is that if he's watching a movie up there and I'm playing a game down here, the two audios are competing against each other. We haven't quite figured out a way around that yet. Aside from, one of us wearing headphones when the other one is doing whatever. Sony needs to bring back some of its exclusives like Siphon Filter. That I agree. My prediction: Nintendo Switch design is going to become the future standard. Everything will have a portability option. Well, Sony already dipped their toes in that with the Portal, and they're rumored to have something that's closer to the Switch coming. The thing of it is, it's not going to be able to do physical like the Switch does because PS5 is CDs. If you have a spare room, turn it into a game library. That's already happening. There's games all in this room. There's games all in the game room up there. And then the third room is going to have shelves that's going to be a mixture of video games and tabletop board games. Jaffe is a locale himself. I remember that video Exposure made on him, and he got his channel taken down for almost 2 years because of it. Well, that's the thing with Exposure. No offense to him, but the man is clearly on the spectrum, and he doesn't know how to skirt the line, and so that's why he was constantly getting his channel suspended. He didn't know how to play the game. Not a Star Wars fan, but Dark Forces Remastered Edition. If it has a physical. If it gets a physical, I might buy that. Do a 3D type sound setup. It should block the game room up above. It's weird because the way this house is laid out, things echo and travel because of this big, tall, slanted ceiling and the open area upstairs and everything. Everything just echoes everywhere in this house. You could probably start a museum. Not really. My collection's tiny compared to some other people I know. I love the portal. We don't have the portal. Didn't really have a need for it. What would you estimate your gaming collection is worth? Not including the pinball table and the multicade that's coming. If we're just talking about my consoles and the games, physical games I have for those consoles, it's worth $76,000. That's its book value. That's not what I'd actually get if I put it all up on sale. But that's what its book value is. Already talked about the BG versus Bond saga. It pays to show up on time, Sage. I don't have a favorite outdoor activity. It's very rare for sunlight to touch the skin. I think they need to remake some of their handheld games to console, like Golden Abyss, Resistance Burning Skies was terrible. What are you talking about? I platted it, but that was a terrible game. Killzone Mercenary was good, but Resistance Burning Skies was a piece of crap. How much would it cost to contract someone to build for the upstairs? Build what? The only thing that I would do to this house, okay, is in the my master bathroom. Whereas every other house we looked at up here had a 0-entry walk-in shower, this one has a 2-foot deep garden tub. And the older I get, the harder it's going to be for me to get in and out of that tub. And so if I was going to do anything to this house, I would rip out that tub and put in a 0-entry shower with a bench. That's what I'd do. Maybe I'll do that with next year's bonus. I don't know. Depends on how much that costs. I think we could possibly do something with maybe some really dense sound dampening curtains that we could put up over the balcony way. Maybe that would help. We'll figure something out. I've noticed that everything in Star Wars except the main movies is what's keeping the franchise afloat, but with recent blunders, the auxiliary projects are catching up with the mediocrity. What do you think? Well, you know, I kind of liked that Skeleton Crew show, but it wasn't Star Wars. It was Goonies. It was good. I mean, for God's sakes, you had a planet in Star Wars that had suburbs in it, and the suburbs looked like futuristic versions of the neighborhoods from E.T. and Poltergeist. It was kind of a joke. But I liked the show. I just didn't like it as a Star Wars show. It was Goonies, the show. Right down to the pirate treasure and stuff. But I'm gonna say something, and I know it's gonna piss some people off, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Since Disney took Star Wars over, the best movie they've made was Solo, because it's the only one out of all of them that really feels like a Star Wars movie. And people rip on that movie about how terrible it supposedly is. It feels like Star Wars when you watch it. If you can get around the fact that dude doesn't look like Harrison Ford, everything else in that is a stellar film. In fact, you know what? Solo feels like what the Uncharted movie should have been. It's a good movie. Y'all just aren't willing to admit that it's a good movie because the dude don't look like Harrison Ford. Hi, Mario. I think you'd like the Portal 7th gaming on your recliner. I already game on my recliner. That's the point. I'm sitting in front of a PS5 Pro with a 70-inch screen. What do I need with one this big? Was Death Stranding a unique genre of game? I think so. Pretty much, Enemy. It's Nintendo and Sony now. If you don't count Steam. Thoughts on John Cena turning heel? I'm not impressed by it. It's not. I've already talked about it earlier in the show. It's not going to have the relevance to the industry that the NWO had. Skeleton Crew was trash as a Disney show, as a Star Wars show. If you removed all the Star Wars elements from it, and just that whole show could have been Goonies 2. If you just put it in Oregon, took out all the Star Wars crap, it could have been Goonies 2. You very easily you could have retrofitted that script to be a Goonies series. That show could have been to the Goonies movie what Cobra Kai was to the Karate Kid films. Just by taking all the Star Wars crap out of it and taking all the aliens and everything and just sticking it in Oregon. Will you be doing a new game room tour? As soon as the new multicade gets here, and there's a couple other things I want to do before I do that. But there will certainly be one sometime this year. I never saw Solo, no intention to. You're lost, man. Rogue One was okay, but it didn't feel like a Star Wars movie. Thumbs up for recasting. I'm pissed Disney took over Marvel and canceled The Punisher, my favorite comic book character. Well, not necessarily. Not necessarily. Just keep an eye on things. Would a console like the Switch work without issue if Sony used a disc, or would they resort to using a massive UMD for that to work? They're not going to do either one. What they'll end up doing is they'll make a system like the Switch that'll work with the PS5, but what it does is it allows you to download digital games that you've purchased off the PlayStation Network. And maybe they'll have some system where if you can prove you purchased the physical version, you can download it onto the portable. That's what they'll do if they do anything. I don't think they're going to come out with a portable that has a disk drive or anything like that. They're not even going to come out with a portable that has its own dedicated library. They're just going to come out with a Switch ripoff that plays PS5 games. If they come out with anything at all. The portal might be the only thing you ever see. I stopped watching wrestling when Stone Cold retired. That's pretty much when I stopped too. I stopped not too incredibly long after the whole WCW thing ended. What you need, 7th, is a Robin medley. You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong. I miss my Robin. I mean, this Schecter that I bought is pretty good, but it still don't feel as good as my Robin did. Are you looking forward to Goonies 2? It's filming right now. I ain't heard anything about it filming. Which Dark Side of the Ring episode shook you up the most? None of them have shook me up. I'm kind of hard to shake. Any interest in Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4? Not really. Do you remember Sam Kinison? Yes. What was your take on his brand of comedy? I wasn't overly impressed with him. When people were going crazy over Kinnison and Dice, I was still just into Carlin. Bye, Mike. I'm getting a Wii U flashback with that prediction. Do you think The Rock's post-retirement run has put his legacy above Austin's? I don't think so. The big difference between Austin and The Rock is that The Rock was able to successfully transfer his career to Hollywood, and Austin kind of bombed in Hollywood. Are you looking forward to Batman 2? Not especially. I found The Batman to be kind of boring. I think The Batman would have been better if they cut out the Catwoman subplot and trimmed it down to a shorter movie. And just kept the focus on the Riddler. I don't think the Catwoman needed to be in it. In fact, the Catwoman, for the most part, you could take her out of it entirely and it wouldn't really affect the movie that much. Favorite Primus song? I don't really have a favorite Primus song. It's a big club and you're not in it. Exactly. How's your Wii U collection? That'll be worth a lot since they didn't sell that many. I don't have a very big Wii U collection because so many of the games were re-released on the Switch that I've just, bought them on the Switch and then sold the Wii U versions. That's why there's so many of the games on the Wii U that aren't really worth that much. The ones that are worth the most are the ones that haven't been ported to the Switch yet. What do you think of El Presidor getting his old channel back? I don't think he'll end up doing anything with it that'll make it be as popular as it was. In fact, I would be surprised if he goes back to using it heavily, because he spent so many years with people watching his Quantrill Bishop channel that I think he'd be afraid of losing all those viewers by switching back to his original channel. We'll see. High on Life was a 4.5 because it was more annoying than it was funny. What are your thoughts on Bill Burr as a comedian? He's okay. He's probably, it's sad to say, but he's probably the closest to a modern day Carlin style, pessimistic style comedian. For years and years and years, for me, it was Pryor and Carlin. Nowadays, it's Burr and Chappelle. Do you like the Christian rock band Red? Yes, I like Red. I need that Twilight Princess and Wind Waker port, the only Zelda games I'm playing. Why is YouTube so boring now compared to how it was back then? Because people have learned how to become popular by manipulating the algorithm. And so that's caused there to be an inundation of channels that are just the same thing repeated over and over again. And now YouTube is being flooded with channels that are AI. The script is written by AI. The script is read by an AI audio voice. The accompanying video that you watch that's inspired by the script is all AI generated. And that's why when you watch it and you listen to it, there'll be maybe 10 minutes of original content, and then it starts to repeat the same points over and over again because of how crappy the AI script is. It just rewords the same stuff that it said to extend the view out to 30 minutes so it gets more watch time, you see? So everything that's on YouTube nowadays, except for, guys like us that still do this kind of stuff, is all built to cater to the algorithm and maximize views and ad revenue. And that's why YouTube sucks now, because there's no such thing anymore as guys like me that do it for fun and build an audience just because we have fun doing what we do. That doesn't exist anymore. It's turned into a job. And a lot of it is not even a job. It's AI fake crap that people are using just to churn out money, game the system. Do I still speak with El Presidor? No. I've reached out to him a couple of times on X and he hasn't replied. I would be very surprised if he even remembered who I was at this point. He's kind of out there. Did you like the movie Red? Not really. Is the Alien real-time strategy game any good? I don't think I've played it. Uh-oh. One hour remaining. We've had a single $20 donation. It does not look like we're going to extend time tonight. So we have 1 hour left. What do you guys want to talk about with our 1 hour left? Anybody? Just going to dry up the questions now, huh? With 1 hour left to go. Announcing that there was 1 hour left just killed all your thought at once, huh? I feel the same, JV. I feel the same way about YouTube as I do about streaming. A lot, if not most, streamers are like Hollywood celebrities, are very pretentious. Yeah, and they're very entitled. They deserve money. They deserve your hard-earned dollars. Yeah, that's one thing that I'll never tell you is that I deserve anything from you. I'll point and make a joke and say, hey, if you want me for more than 3 hours, but I'm not going to say, why haven't you donated? I deserve it. I'm not going to do that shit. Like some of these women that have been on Twitch complaining about how there haven't been any donations that night. You'd never see me do anything like that. No, I don't feel like talking about the economy. I do this stream to get away from the real world, not to discuss it. Dedicate this last hour to Cena's bald spot. Dude needs to shave that shit already. That or he needs to get on Rogaine. Like, in the worst way. What's your fear with AI? That it's going to AI me out of a job. That eventually it's going to get smart enough to be able to do what I do. And that'll force me into an early retirement. At that point, I'm just hoping that, 8th has decided to get into a career that can't be replaced by AI. So he hasn't decided what he's going to do yet, whether it be a nurse or an auto mechanic or air conditioning mechanic, plumber, electrician, something that can't be replaced by AI. That's what he's looking to get into. And hopefully by the time AI kills my career, I'll be able to take early retirement and there'll still be, Social Security will still exist and I can put all of my 401k into interest earning Roth IRAs and live off the interest in Social Security, and 8th can start paying for the mortgage instead of me. Assuming I don't die before all that happens. Talk about NRS being bought. Don't know what you're referring to there. Thoughts on Lex Luger going into the Hall of Fame? I don't know. What do you think about that old Jack Black game, Brutal Legend? I liked the open world action part of it, but the tower defense stuff killed it for me. Any new projects in the work after Trey for Life? Not really. Not really. I donate, but I'm broke, and it would have to be 20 by mail. Don't worry about it. AI isn't big yet, in my opinion, but it's getting there, and some people have lost their jobs to do graphic design. I know. I know. I am a software analyst. You know, I fix things when they break, and I'm not talking about simple, help desk tech support. I'm talking about more higher end stuff. But eventually, I would imagine the AI will get to the point where it can go in and fix anything that occurs without having to have a human person do it. And when that day comes, what am I going to be doing? Management? It's only a matter of time. Unless something happens to limit the uses of AI for the sake of the economy. But again, I don't want to talk about that kind of stuff. I have to worry about that kind of stuff enough as it is without having to do it while I'm trying to do my show. Thank you kindly. Have you seen Mickey 17? No, and I have no intention of it. Cena can always use spray paint for the hair. Oh, you mean like Rudy Giuliani? Look what happened with him when he was just standing out in the sun. Can you imagine what would happen with Cena painting hair and then doing a wrestling match? What do you think about Cody Rhodes? I like him. I think he's a good wrestler. He doesn't inspire me to the point where I feel like, he's the baby face of the company. To me, he's kind of vanilla and bland. I like vanilla ice cream, but I usually prefer something a little bit more adventurous, And to me, that's what Cody Rhodes is. He's vanilla ice cream. He's good when you're in the mood for it, but that's about it. What's your favorite sweets? I can't really do sweets anymore because, diabetes, but type 2. But, I used to really like strawberry milkshakes, original Hershey's bars, and I'd put the Hershey's bars in the freezer so they'd be hard because I liked them crunchy. And sometimes I'd freeze them, I'd take them out of the freezer, and I'd spread peanut butter across them, and I'd have crunchy and gooey in one bite. Chocolate and peanut butter. You got chocolate in my peanut butter. You got peanut butter in my chocolate. I'm getting into welding. I don't think AI will take that over in 20 to 30 years. That would be an option. 8th has also looked into maybe getting into the railroad, but working for the railroad, he'd be gone a lot of the time. And, of course, eventually the trains will be automated. It's just a matter of time. Do you see AI taking work away from people already? IT people? Not in the kind of IT work that I do. I've seen it taking away people's work that work in digital art, website design, that kind of thing. But again, I don't want to talk about that anymore. I was talking about Acclaim making a comeback and might buy the rights to Mortal Kombat. I highly doubt that. And just because Jeff Jarrett got into some business deal that revives the name of Acclaim, it doesn't mean that it's reviving the company from when we were kids. And why should that matter? 99% of the stuff Acclaim put out was garbage. No, if anything, it's going to be closer to what happened with the Intellivision Amico. that would be like me going out and buying the copyright to LJN and I'm bringing back LJN. And really, what you're going to do more than anything is sell T-shirts with the logo on it, and sell merch that's nostalgia driven, but you're not going to put out anything of substance on that label. And that, to me, that's what's going to happen with Acclaim. Any video game genres you would try or go back to if they added a special gimmick? I pretty much still play the same genres I've always played, aside from sports. I would like a current generation Super Dodgeball sequel. That's what I would like. I've been listening to AI pretend to be Eminem and write songs on the spot that sound exactly like something he would have made. It's crazy. Yep. I wish I could drink a strawberry milkshake, but IBS has kept me from that. I know about IBS too. I have lots of things wrong with me. What about coding? Because I love coding. Coding is in as much danger as anything is when it comes to IT jobs. But again, I don't want to talk about that anymore. Sly Cooper comeback would be nice. Remake or reboot. Agreed. Although that last Sly Cooper game that Sucker Punch didn't make, Sly Cooper 4, it was kind of... Exactly, Black Lightning. BioWare technically still exists as a company, but it's not the studio that it was during the PS3 generation or the PS2 generation. Because none of those people work there anymore. It's that studio in name only now, and the proof is in the pudding of what they're putting out. Were you shocked by the level of detail in the Clockwork Mansion and Dishonored 2? I haven't actually played Dishonored 2. I haven't even played Dishonored 1. For whatever reason, I just never got around to those two. I have them in my library, but I've never played them. I have them both on PS4, I think, and I have the first one on PS3, I think. With AI, I don't think we would see a remake to The Cable Guy. Any tips for thinning hair? No, not really. I mean, you guys know I can still grow a full head of hair. I just shaved it all off again because managing long hair like that is a lot of work. But my biggest advice would be is that if you start developing a bald spot, you can either get on medication for it or you can just shave it all off. Me, I think shaving it all off is the best option because that makes your life a hell of a lot easier. Yeah, Rocksteady is Rocksteady in name only at this point. And talking about how they're going to go back and make another Batman game, I don't care at this point. I have no confidence in them. Not after Suicide Squad. Yes, the BioShock games are still great. Did you ever try those PS TVs or the PS1 with the built-in TV? No. There was a time where I considered going and trying to eBay one of those PlayStation 3D TVs that was made especially for the PS3. But it turns out that they haven't exactly held up very well. The build quality on them weren't that great, so it's becoming harder and harder to find one that still works properly. But I considered buying one just to hook up my 60 gig PS3 to it and play some 3D PS games on it and watch some 3D Blu-rays on it and that kind of thing. But decided against it. Imagine in the future where you kill a robot and you could be charged for destruction of property rather than a murder. Well, I mean, we don't have to imagine that. They made a movie of that called iRobot. And there was there was, of course, an episode of The Outer Limits that had a very similar plot. Do you still have PTSD from Hannah Montana? Digital camel toe? I got a bald spot since I was in my 20s. I just hope I don't lose until I'm at least 50 if I make it that far, because I figure by then I would have more to worry about. Well, I mean, you can... I haven't had that problem. I just got to... Here's what happened that started the whole shaving my head thing. I had long hair down past my shoulders, down in my face, would tie it back in a ponytail. I was in a band, living in Tennessee, working an IT job. IT job says, we want to move you to Jacksonville, Florida. So I quit the band and moved to Jacksonville, Florida. And I got down there in that Florida weather, and whether I tied it back or not, my long hair was constantly stuck to the back of my neck and going down my back with sweat. And it got to be a royal pain in my butt. So one day, after I got off work, I went to Walmart and bought a pair of hair clippers, electric hair clippers, and I went into my bathroom and I just shaved it all off, and I've been wearing it that way more or less ever since. Right up until a couple of summers ago, where I was curious and, wasn't going out that much because of the whole coof thing and the aftermaths of that. And I thought, well, I'm not going to a barber or nothing anyway. We'll just see if I can still grow it. And so I grew it for a year, and sure as the world, grew a full head of hair. I mean, I did have a receding hairline. Most guys do, but I don't have any bald spots. I have a widow's peak and then long hair. But you have to spend a long time putting in conditioner and washing it every night, and combing through it when you dry it, and it's just a lot of work to maintain. And so I wore it for a little over a year, and then I was bored with it, and I shaved it all off again. Rocksteady should bring a remastered edition or sequel for their first game, Urban Chaos. I don't know that if it was popular enough to warrant that. A lot of people would probably be like, what the hell is this? Favorite pizza toppings? I like the Meat Lover's pizza. Pepperoni, ground beef, pork, bacon. Magic powers. Just a little bit of magic powers. A little bit. Oh, we've lost a few viewers. We're down under 20. First time of the night that we've been under 20. Do you have thoughts on the date of LolCal Tech talk show now that Rich and Jay have both left? I didn't watch it when they were on it. I'm certainly not going to watch it with them not on it. It's not about looking good. It's about not looking older, which has been one of the problems I've had my whole life. I'm to the point now where I'm I'm starting to look my age. Up until maybe 2 years ago, I didn't look any aside from gray in my beard, I didn't look any different than I did when I was in my 30s. But now I'm starting to get kind of jowly, you know, starting to show my age. And it is what it is, man. Who cares? You know, don't look in a mirror and just keep doing what's fun. Thoughts on Mr. Kennedy? Nah, I never watched Mr. Kennedy. I was already pretty much done by the time he came along. Do you think pineapples are good on pizza? If you're doing a Hawaiian style pizza with Hawaiian barbecue, yes. Otherwise, no. Any new local restaurants you like? We haven't really been, since I moved to this new neighborhood, or new town, we haven't really explored much in the way of like new and unique local restaurants. We've just stuck to the chains that we're familiar with for the most part. Do you like Jay and Silent Bob? Uh, Not so much modern Jay and Silent Bob. I liked the older stuff, but the new stuff's kind of, Jay and Silent Bob reboot was meh. Clerks 3 was really meh. That recent Kevin Smith movie that he made, the 420 showing or 4 o'clock movie or whatever the hell it's called, that was actually a pretty fun movie. That felt more like classic Smith. And I liked that better than Jay and Silent Bob reboot or Clerks 3, which was terrible. Yeah, I'm not anywhere near 6 feet. I'm 5'9" if I wear boots. If without boots, I'm 5'8". My dad was 5'8", 5'9" in boots. I was not destined to play for the NBA. Favorite 80 shows and movies? That's too wide of a question there, Alaskan dude. Too wide of a question. Do you think Ubisoft will go under? I think it's highly possible. The way they're going. I liked the movie with Shannon and Elizabeth, who I had in my room as a kid. Are you talking about American Pie? Oh, you're talking about Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Never mind. Yes. Yes. I know what you're talking about. I still remember the one story you told about waiting on the waitress to refill your drink, and you went and drank out of the fountain or something. You told it when you were at your other house. Yeah, that happened at a old country buffet. We had I used to be in a computer community that had a breakfast, a group breakfast every Saturday. And I went over there, and yes, it was a buffet, but they also had waitresses that come and refill your drinks. And the waitress kept passing by me without filling my drink. And the third time she did it, I got fed up, and I got up and I walked over to the behind the counter to where the Coke, the soda dispenser was, stuck my head under there and just started pouring Coke down my throat, and I got thrown out. Was Joker better than Taxi Driver? No. Do you like the Yellowstone show? Never watched it. Never have watched it. Do you think Randy Pitchford is the George Lucas? Absolutely not. He's not. He's not anywhere close to Lucas. Randy Pitchford is a used car salesman. That's what Randy Pitchford is. Out of all the wrestlers, I'm surprised Terry Funk never died in the ring. Did he die in like an old folks home? What was it that you said, though, when you stuck your mouth? I don't remember. I just remember what I did, and then I got thrown out. Did you see the details of Gene Hackman's death? Pretty sad stuff. Yeah, his wife dies suddenly of weird infectious disease, and he's got Alzheimer's, so he's like clueless, and so he wanders around in the house on his own until he misses enough of his heart medication that causes him to have a heart attack and he falls over dead. And that's probably why one of the dogs died in the closet, because he was so out of it from Alzheimer's. He probably thought he was letting the dog out to piss and instead locked it in the closet. And so the dog either asphyxiated from the heat or it starved to death. That's why people that are that advanced in Alzheimer's should probably be in an assisted living facility instead of being cared for by their wife. Did you have to pay before you got thrown? No, I didn't. I ended up what I ate. I ended up having for free, so because they threw me out and didn't make. They didn't really think that one through. Did I ever watch X-Files? I watched certain episodes of X-Files. I wasn't a big fan of the show. Is your video game collection now bigger than it was before the yard sale debacle? No. It was still bigger by about 500 more. So I've still got about another 500 to buy before I'm caught up. I think. It gets harder to remember the older I get. Do you know who lives in your old apartment? No? Why would I know that? I like the ones with John Doggett. Yeah. George Lucas, one thing is way better than any. I get what you're saying. Yes. Have you watched a show called Severance? No. I have not. Man, we've lost like 10 viewers now. I must have gotten boring. Sorry. I'm working sick here, people. No appreciation. I deserve viewers and donations. Thoughts on the gaming industry's focus on realism. It's not really needed. When you look and see how many copies that Mario Kart sells, for example, it makes you wonder why they spend so much time on realism. Really makes you wonder. We got about a half hour to go, folks. 30 minutes. 30-minute warning. 30-minute warning. Ew. You should talk about the weather. The viewers will come back. I've noticed there's like a whole genre of guys on YouTube now that, are self-styled meteorologists. And like every video they make, horrible storm coming to the U.S. And, I'll go outside and I'll get a couple drops of rain, And then a couple of days later, storm's going to hit the U.S. And it'll have the same little thumbnail with this red cloud right over the middle of the United States over and over again. Look at this. This is a little poster that came with a Sega Genesis game. Thought y'all might find this interesting. I've got it upside down, don't I? Get a grip, Game Gear, and look at all them Game Gear games. And then you turn it around. Welcome to the next level, Sega Genesis. There's the Minister. And there's the Sega CD. See, I love this kind of stuff. I would never spend money on it. this one came with a game. I wouldn't go to like a gaming convention and buy one of these posters, for example. I wouldn't do that because I'm not that level of obsessed, to say the least. But if I happen to buy a Genesis game that had one inside it, I think it's kind of neat. But, I wouldn't go to a gaming convention and be like, ooh, a promotional poster. Here's $20. I wouldn't do that. I also would not buy empty game boxes. I don't buy manuals. If it doesn't come with a manual, I don't care. I'm not nostalgic for cardboard. And the one that really gets me are people that will... No offense, Jay. No offense, Billy. But people that will spend money on empty cereal boxes so they can then display cereal boxes. I don't understand it. I just don't. I don't understand that. That's a concept that is flown over my head. Don't get it. You can't eat it. You're just going to look at it? I vaguely remember what that tasted like. Ah, nostalgia. I don't get it. That's money you could spend on an actual game, something you could actually play. I mean, I enjoy a piece of artwork as much as the next guy, but I'm not going to sit and admire the artistry of an empty box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch. What the hell? What the hell? I just don't. I don't know. I don't know. I'm getting myself verklempt just thinking about it. Any opinion on Shenmue? It was a very influential game. People underestimate how influential Shenmue was. So much of modern gaming came because of Shenmue. That being said, it has not aged well at all. Go back and play it now, and oh boy. But at the time, it was revolutionary. Thoughts on Jim Ryan? Never cared for him. Never cared for him. No, I don't understand the nostalgia and appreciation for cereal box art. No. When I was a kid, I didn't sit staring appreciatively at the box of cereal as I scooped it into my mouth. Oh, look at those lines. Oh, look at the artistry. Look at the color. Look at the saturation. I didn't do that shit. I sat there and I poured it, slammed it down, and then I was on the bus to school. I never stood and stared at the box. I wasn't even the kid that fished for the toy at the bottom of the box. I didn't do that crap. Hey, 7th, Streamlabs isn't working right now for whatever reason, but here's 20 buckazoids. Well, thanks, Smith. Appreciate you. You're the second person that's told me that Streamlabs isn't working. That's weird. I'm going to test that. Popped right up. It's giving me the option to log in to do a one-time or a monthly or weekly tip to the 7th level. I don't know why y'all can't get to it. I certainly can. Popped right up. Where's 8th at? He's up there somewhere, doing his thing. If they could make Shenmue similar to Sleeping Dogs without guns, it would attract more attention. You know, all Shenmue is the game that inspired two major things: Grand Theft Auto 3 and Yakuza. And in doing so, inspired pretty much what modern single player gaming is right now. No, I didn't like the Doom movie, and I didn't like the direct-to-video sequel to the Doom movie. Whenever I hit your tip page, I get redirected to a page that just has your stream on it. Well, you have to log in. You can't just tip. You have to log in and create an account before it'll let you tip. So, either way, I appreciate your donation, Smith. Have you ever met Chris Benoit? Yes, I met Chris Benoit once at Walt Disney World, of all places, standing in front of the Haunted Mansion. I shook hands with that man. Are you looking forward to the new Onimusha games? We'll see. I'm cautiously optimistic. We'll see what happens. Yes, there was a direct-to-video sequel to the Doom movie. Made for video, it's very low budget. You lived through the era of games reaching $100, and I think a special edition with a character statue, etc. is the only way a game like GTA and others will ever get close to $100 this day and age. We'll see. We will see. I mean, if it happened during the Genesis and Super Nintendo era, it can happen now. If they can if they can make one game retail for $100 without a statue or anything in it, and it sell 5 million copies, the next thing you know, every game will be $100. So sadly, if they choose to go that route with Grand Theft Auto, the only thing that would save us from it would be if nobody bought Grand Theft Auto, and you know that ain't going to happen. What did you think of Ken Shamrock as a wrestler? Not much. As a UFC fighter, sure. As a wrestler, didn't care for him much. The Doom movie felt nothing like the Doom game. Yeah, only the last 15 minutes of it with the first-person section. You're welcome, 7th. Yeah, I got logged into Streamlabs with my YouTube account and then tried a different account I had with a different email. Still not working right. I don't know, man. SNES $100 games back then, did that actually work? Is Universal's Volcano Bay the best water park in the U.S.? Probably. Since, Disney isn't putting any money into renovating Typhoon Lagoon. Typhoon Lagoon is my personal favorite, but they haven't done anything to upgrade or improve it in years and years. I do not understand why. I go to my thing. I'm not sure. Something's definitely off if you're not seeing these options, but I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it's a browser thing. I don't know why it ain't working. Something ain't working right, I guess. I mean, it's not happening when I go and look at it, but whatever. I'll play with it later. I mean, Darkstar was able to donate $5 to it 2 months ago, so I don't know why all of a sudden it wouldn't work. What do you think is the best Nintendo console? My favorite is still the NES. My favorite PlayStation is still the PS2. Yes, you could end up paying $100 for an SNES game. You could end up paying $100 for a Genesis game. Phantasy Star 4 was $100 when it came out. So was Virtua Racing, if I remember right. Why did games have a standard $60 to begin with? That started with the PS3 and Xbox 360 generation. The standard became $59 because that's what Microsoft decided all of their games were going to be when the 360 came out. And so then when the PS3 came out, it matched that at $59. Whereas with the Wii, most of the Wii games stayed $49, which is what the standard price was prior to the Xbox 360 PS3 generation. Most collector's editions don't feel worth it anymore. Now it's like $250 for the game, a steel book, an art book, and a statue. Stuff used to call it. Yeah, I know. They used to be like $100 to $150, and you got a nice statue, and you got the actual game. Nowadays, you get an empty steel book, and you have to pay $250, and sometimes you don't even get a statue. I mean, look at that Like a Dragon Pirates game. It didn't come with a statue. It basically came with a shrinky dink of the main character for $200. I'm not paying that. I want a nice statue, or I'm not buying your collector's edition. Did you like the SpongeBob movie game on I don't think I ever played it. I'm 50, man. I was already well into adulthood when SpongeBob came around. I'm not really a SpongeBob guy. Are you going to get the upcoming Dynasty Warriors? Probably not. Probably not. I'm not a huge fan of that genre. I mean, if it's something, if it's in that genre, but it's a storyline that I get behind, like I liked the one for Fist of the North Star. I liked the one for Berserk and the Band of the Hawk. I liked that one, but just the straightforward Dynasty Warrior ones, I don't really care about them. When the Switch eventually surpasses the PS2 in sales, will you crack open a Mario Pop in celebration? Just joking. I'm still not convinced that it's going to get that far. Never mind the fact that I don't consider the Switch a console. I consider it a handheld. So its sales to me don't matter. Oh, I can wait. I can wait and not buy it. I'm sure Eighth will want to play it, but I don't have any interest in it. Everything in it looks fugly. I don't want to play that. And they haven't shown any kind of gameplay that really would lead me to see whether it's even something I'd care about playing or not. Exactly, JV. There's a channel, there's an account on X. It's called Will It Play or something like that, and it's just a database of current generation games and past few generations that lets you know whether if without internet you can pop the disc in and it'll install/play off the disc or not. Comes in handy. Comes in handy. We're down to our last 15 minutes, folks. 15 minutes. Oh, and by the way, Smith, I forgot. Dollar bill for Smith. Thank you, Smith. Sinuses, man. I'm going to have to take another Allegra here when I get off here. Whew. I don't know if that's that much of a wasted opportunity. That song has been really overplayed at this point. Ever played Pursuit Force? Oh, on PSP? Yeah, I used to have it. I would like to see Resistance make a comeback, but, Insomniac isn't going to do that. They're just going to keep cock-teasing people on X, making them think that they're bringing Resistance back. They're too far up Marvel's ass at this point. You'll never see Resistance, at least not by Insomniac. Maybe they'll pass it to someone like Sony Bend or something, but they won't. You won't see a new Resistance from Insomniac. They're now the Marvel studio. I liked Florida when I lived there. I wouldn't like living there now. Pursuit Force is on PS4. Have you talked about Daredevil Born Again yet tonight? No, I haven't, because nobody asked me. I watched the first 2 episodes. I thought they were good, although I think, advertising, hey, Foggy and What's-Her-Name are going to be back, and then doing what they did, no spoilers, was a major cock tease. But as far as just the sheer quality of the first 2 episodes, I was very pleased. I highly doubt that, JV. There's rumors of a God of War PS5. Yeah, I've seen those rumors. We'll see. We will see. I'm not holding my breath. Not holding my breath. I haven't really seen much about SOCOM 5. I mean, it's a rumor that springs up every so often. But, again, I'm not holding my breath. A She-Hulk game? No, thank you. And that's one thing that I was glad about is that so far they've made zero reference to the fact that that Matt hooked up with She-Hulk in the She-Hulk show. So far they're acting like that never happened. So happy about that. Hopefully they stay that way. Clean frame, I was looking at trends around 2008, and there was an article about this thing that Microsoft was pushing at the time called the PlayStation, the Microsoft Home. And it was how it was basically predicting the Internet of Things and how everything would be a smart device and everything would be tied to a central account and everything in your house would be online tied to this central account. So, everything would be controlled by your computer or a centralized box, and including your home security, to your air conditioning, to your TV watching, to your gaming. It was all going to be tied to one thing, blah, blah, blah. And looking at that and looking at them having, at the same time, founding Azure, and talks of Azure being there to compete against Amazon and Google in the cloud services business. I put two and two together and was like, Microsoft is pushing for an all-digital gaming future. And I made this video talking about how I believed within the next few gens that they were going to try to take everything all digital, and consoles would basically become set-top boxes that connected to the internet and either streamed the games over the internet through high speed or downloaded them. And it was all going to be a subscription-based service. And at the time, Netflix was not a streaming service yet. You still had to wait for discs to arrive in the mail. And so I compared it to the Apple Store. That gaming would become like the Apple Store, where instead of going out and buying it on disc, you were just going to purchase a license for the game online, and it would either stream or be downloaded onto your device. And that was I made that video in 2009. Any thoughts on NVIDIA dropping the ball with the 50 series of graphics card? It seems like a disaster. I mean, we all knew eventually they were going to hit a brick wall, because there needs to be a revolutionary change in the tech. $5 from Richard. Thank you, Richard. Appreciate it. Thank you, Richard. There needs to be let me give you a dollar bill real quick. There needs to be a revolutionary change in the technology, because right now, just trying to come out with the more powerful version of what they've been doing is becoming increasingly more expensive, and it's having diminishing returns. You're not really seeing that much of a difference from one card to the next anymore, because they've kind of reached that wall. And so it's not just going to be anymore what's the next most powerful version of a 5090. They need a technical revolution, something that is a totally different type of technology that can provide more power, better visuals, but utilizes less space and requires less power from the system, and requires less memory to do it. What that leap in technology is going to be, I can't say, but something needs to change, because they've hit the limit with with the current iteration of graphics cards. They've hit the limit. Maybe that's going to be completely cloud streaming. I don't know. Because bottom line is that even when you're streaming from the cloud, you're still being pushed by arrays that have those same graphics technologies. So maybe AI? I don't know. Quantum computing? Who knows? Don't know. But something's going to have to change eventually. I still prefer to rent games at the video store. Yeah, that would be nice. It'd be nice. I miss going to the video store and picking things out. It just seemed more fun. All digital future isn't that great with money or anything that can track everything. Yeah. Yeah, track everything you do, everything you buy, everything you think. Yeah, interesting times we're headed towards, ladies and gentlemen. Interesting times. Chances are I won't live to see it get really bad. We'll see. 'Cause I don't think I'm going to make it to my 80s, friends. If I make it to my 70s, I'll be lucky. I am staring down the horizon. But who cares? Have fun while you're dying. That's the way I see it. Have fun while you're dying. Any interest in split fiction? Not really. Hollywood Video for the win. I never did Hollywood. I did local stores. My two locals were Harrison Video and Video Park. And then I did Blockbuster and Movie Gallery. I never did Hollywood. But back when video rental first started in my town, there was a store that I don't even think is there anymore. It was called R&R Rental Center. And you could go there and you could buy a VCR or you could rent a VCR. And just like you could buy or rent refrigerators, washer, dryer, etc. And they had a video store inside R&R where you could rent movies. And when we first started out, that's where we would rent movies, is we would rent movies from the place where we got our first VCR, which was R&R Rental Center. What games are you looking forward to for the rest of the year? Nothing, really. There hasn't been anything that has been announced where I've been like, oh, hasn't happened. Hasn't happened, not yet. I just like to fish and be in nature in crazy times. That's always the cure. Well, I just like to be here in my space. That's what I like. There was a time where I loved to travel. And I loved to go and my big thing was seeing new places, seeing new things. But my life is such that I don't really have the means or the time to do that anymore. So the best I can hope for is just to surround myself with this museum of my life. This homage to my teenage years, because this whole thing is basically built to replicate my basement bedroom when I was 17. I mean, obviously I have a lot nicer stuff than I did then, but still, that's the general vibe that this is going for. It's the year 2001. It's Friday night. You have no plans. What did you do? Did you go rent something? No, I'd go to the movies. Well, actually, in 2001, I would have been taking Eight's mom to the movies. Or taking her to the beach, or taking her out to dinner, or doing whatever. Taking her home and getting it on. Whatever. But that's what I would have been doing. Would you like a Link's Awakening remake style for Link to the Past? That would be great. I don't know. That game kind of runs like crap. It's got a terrible frame rate. Terminator 2 game does look good. I'm interested in that one. Next Resident Evil game should be Resident Evil Revelations 3. We'll see. Will there ever be another gaming crash to what happened in the 80s or something equivalent to it? You're living in it now. Do you not see? Games bereft of originality or quality. A bunch of the same kind of crap coming out over and over. Things being overpriced. Studios going out of business left and right. You're living in the middle of it right now, Clean Frame. People just don't realize it yet. You were 10 in 2001. Well, I was in my 20s in 2001. What was a rated E game you thought would suck but ended up impressing you? The Puppeteer. Another one would be Astrobot. because the first couple of things I played were just kind of demos, and then I played the one that came with PS5, and I was like, oh. Have you played Return of the Obra Dinn? No. I've seen it, but I haven't played it. Yeah, Ubisoft is basically the canary in the coal mine right now. There is a reckoning coming. What the greater repercussions of that are going to be, who knows? Who knows? Did you like the original Crash Bandicoot? It was okay. I was not a big a fan of it as like, Mario and Sonic, but for what it was at the time, it was good. Wah, 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 wah. All right, well, guys, I hate to tell you this, but it's 9 o'clock. We have reached 3 hours, and we came $5 short of extending the show by 1 hour. So this is where we will have to part ways. I was very glad to feel healthy enough to come back and put on a show. I can't promise that I will be able to do this every weekend because I'm still fighting this thing and I'm still trying to get over it. But this was it felt good to come back and be able to hang out with you guys and talk. But rules are rules. And so, we didn't hit 50. So this is where I have to say, so long, good night, auf Wiedersehen, goodbye. So I will be thinking about the things that you want to ask me about. And hopefully I will be able to come back next week and answer all those questions. If you have any topics that you would like me to discuss in general, feel free to send me a message on X. Create yourself a little X account and send me a message on X and let me know what you'd like me to talk about. And I will see you then. Same 7th time, same 7th channel.